is up, buds? Welcome to Weed&d, the pot positive live tabletop role-playing experience. I am your dungeon master for the night, Brandon Allen McClenahan, but you can call me Bam. Woo, boys! It has been a crazy week. Thank you so much to everybody for all the birthday well wishes on Friday. It is a treat to have survived this long, and here's hoping that I have many more adventures yet to tell. Big shout out and thanks as well to our friends over at Dark Tales for hosting me at their little DM panel on Sunday. Man, that was just a treat and a half. So big shout out to Dork Tales. Kelly over there is just one of the nicest dudes in the world, and I love what they're doing. So please, if you have a sec, definitely go check out Dork Tales. Throw them a follow. They're good people. Blackwater D&D, some of our other friends. D&D 420, D&D with THC, Evolving Shadows, man. This crazy thing, tonight is our 40th sesh. So I'm just filled with love at all the friends we've made along the way. Thanks to all the other content creators who've supported us, helped us with raids. Torpid Network hit us with a raid last week. Unicorn, D&D. It's such a treat, guys. I just love doing this thing so very much. And we've met just some of the most awesome people ever. And it is just a very, very great thing to be able to do. So thank you so much for coming with us along the way. Big shout out to Smoked Out Turtle, who won the Gus Langley comedy album last week. Unfortunately, that was a one-time exclusive. We are doing a giveaway tonight. It is also amazing. It is the Weed&d soundtrack from the 2020 into 2021 season. You get a download file for a bunch of the great music that Sandy, our amazing sound designer, Sandy Stein, who does all the original music for the show. You get to play with it in your own home games and stuff. So yeah, man, definitely type hashtag WeeDnD in chat to make yourself eligible for that. But holy crap, that was a lot of my voice, and I'm done hearing it. In order to progress this show, I've got to take this little joint here and pass through the magical fibers of the interweb to my dear friend, Brenna Folger. Hey, Brenna. How you doing?
Yeah! Oh, hell yeah. What's up, buds? Brenna Folger. Bruno, this is Serpent. I'm a prince, and so that means I have to pass this to a princess. A real princess. A real sweet princess in my life and my dreams. No, not you. It's going to Abby!
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Princess Baby. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. It's fine. 40 episodes, buds. Can you freaking believe it? I'm just happy to be here. I'm also Abby Dandy, and I'm also Tin of Smooth Hands, and I'm passing this along to my friend Drewby. What you got for me?
Oh, thanks, baby. What up, y'all? Drew, Thorkus the Dwarf, Shorty and 40, just like the episodes. You gotta love it, right? Oh, yeah. Bam, also 40, looking fantastic. He's not. He's not, but neither am I. Just like the dragon penis, that's a secret. I'm actually not 40 yet. Anyway, I have run out of things to say, but so excited that you guys are here. Let's get weird with it, y'all. I'm gonna pass it on over to my best friend. Best friend, come on in. Airdrop coming at you, bud. Ready, steady, blow.
Woo! Oh, direct hit, best friend. Thank you so much, and thanks everybody for being here. Jake Taylor once again is Real Authorvon. Our show's turning 40, and I'm feeling 40. Oh yeah, baby. Let's do this. I love you all so much, and I love this guy over here, the one and only Two Blunts Langley. Here you go, bud.
Hey, appreciate that, Jake. Like the man said, I am Gus Two Blunts Langley playing Divot. And I got a shout out to my boy Bam. Happy 35th, man. This makes you a man in our culture. That's right. At the age of 35, if you smoke weed, you are now a man. You have to start smoking meats and watching World War II documentaries. That's the way it is. Welcome to the club. So yeah, let's get this thing started.
Yeah! Holy crap. Thank you so much to my dear and lovely friends. I love you guys so much. I love doing this thing. And in order to do this thing, we got to get to it. So we got a little ritual we like to do around here. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe you haven't. But we like to take a little lighter like this one here. Make sure we're not going to light any of our friends, family, or household pets on fire. And go. Lighters up. Let's fucking play D&D, guys!
WeeDnD, high fantasy, literally for you and me. So load up bowl and make a roll to take control. WeeDnD.
Oh man. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. All right. If you will please allow me to set the mood. When last we left the Ferocious Five, they had emerged victorious in their battle against the treants and dryads of the Dryad's cult. Having at last returned to the prime material plane, the realm of men, they were quickly reminded that the reach of the angered Queen Mab is vast, and that her agents appear intent upon revenge. Bolstered by their new magics and abilities gained from their time in the Feywild, the Five made short work of the aptly named Knobkneck, who showcased the dark and tremendous power capable of the agents of the Queen of Ice and Shadow. During the battle, Tina was able to deduce that their short hours in the Feywild had cost them an entire day lost in the Prime. It is now a short 5 days until the Diesel Dynasty's steel-born army, seen within Divot's vision, will arrive at the Malachite Mountains, which now stand nearly half encompassed in a magical green orb of energy. With many once hidden truths now laid bare, the Five must determine their next course of actions and discover more of their role in the Shekinah prophecy. All right, guys, we jump back in. You guys all still stand inside the Dryad's cult. Now no longer in the wild magic plains of the Feywild, but returned to the realm of men. Now that the battle has settled, you actually have a moment to just kind of take in your surroundings. The smell of cinnamon that was so fragrant in the air, and nutmeg as you were fighting around the workshop, now completely absent. You smell leaves and sap, and old rotting piles of debris from long cast-off plants and animals. The smell of life is around you, a smell that Tina Smoothhands draws her power from. You look around, you see the broken sundial still sitting in the middle of the Dryad's cult. This ring of flowers growing around it, a fairy circle, as you've heard them called in lore. A portal that was at least strong enough for you to walk through from one of the demi-planes of emotion back to the prime material plane. After your battle with Knobkneck, you're all tired and weary, jumping through these many portals, teleporting across vast differences, being so close to so many high forms of magic. Your bones ache, your body, your muscles strong and renewed with your new level. But so many of these new abilities, after having used them for the first time in this battle, have tapped your soul. You look around, the sun still frozen in the sky. A nighttime sleep will never be yours in the realm of men until it's resolved, frozen in place by the great druid Achaeus. One of many lingering issues to deal with as you return to the plane of men, no longer this pressing issue of a standing army about to battle you, something easily where you're reacting, but the time to sit and think, digest some of the emotions that you just witnessed from your friends and allies. As that angry wind of battle fades away, you're all left standing in the Dryad's cult. What do?
I exhale, and I'm smelling the chlorophyll and the leaves and everything, and it smells wonderful. But then I look at my friends, and namely Thoricus, honestly, and everybody looks hungry and tired. So, you guys hungry?
Oh,
Shall
yeah.
we? Yeah, I knew you were ready.
And tired.
Well, why don't I see what Shantia can provide and see if I can't get us cooking up something nice.
All right, Tina, you, like I said, not to overstate it, but more so than anybody, as you were trying to tap into the magics of the Feywild, it felt strange because it was such a strong natural energy source, but it was also twisted with magics that you couldn't quite comprehend. And so to be back where you have a full connection to Shantia, as you look around at your allies' tired faces, you feel that cornucopia that her power provides, the harvest, life, food and energy. And go ahead, Tina, you've made some pretty fantastic dishes in the past. Now feeling that full river of Shantia flowing through you. Go ahead and give me a survival check for just the quality of this. How many mole eggs are you able to find?
Yeah, how many mole eggs can I find right now?
I want a 3 mole egg omelet.
She's thinking.
Crack into a mole egg.
Okay, do I have advantage, you said?
You do, because of this, again, it's this like immediate burst, that river flowing through you. You feel particularly attuned. It's almost as if she's saying hello to you once more.
Yeah. So I find some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, actually with a 21, more than just good. You manage to you walk up, Tina, and as you feel, you almost close your eyes as you feel the sunlight washing down on you. Yes, the sun has been frozen in place for so long, but that warmth that is generated, that light that is cast down upon everybody, you feel, is through the lens of your goddess Shantia. And so as you kind of walk around and place your hand on the non-living trees surrounding you and take in the real natural environment around you, you start asking through magic for the surrounding environment to grant you with its bounties. And you see as small creatures, squirrels and rabbits, start running up with bushels of grapes and strawberries. And it looks like the trees themselves bend down to offer you apples, just for a moment. And then as you take the item from them, they retreat back away. It seems the line between reality and the pure power of your goddess is blurred in this moment as you seemingly just reach into the forest and it fills your hand with food.
Guys, I found mole eggs over here.
You can't even see her. There's like 17 mole eggs stacked up. And so from behind this mole egg mountain, you hear the voice of Tuna Smoothhands.
Best day ever.
We're eating good. So I'm gathering all my ingredients, making sure everybody can be well fed and prepared.
Fantastic,
yeah.
yes. You guys,
yeah.
Tina has an ability to imbue something extra special in the food that she makes. And, almost like on the battlefield in the Fey War, she has this ability to harness the way that emotions feel. There's almost a nostalgia in the bites of her food. And so as each of you, again, this kind of terse, lots of things that have been said and to be said, hanging in the silence, the meal of Tina is almost the knife that cuts through that tension. And each of you, receives a bowl or a dish from her in some way. And, your first bite of that meal kind of reminds you of the warmer things from your past. Brunor, the feelings of riding on the open waves. Rial, this bond that you're making with Thoricus and these new people who've become like a family to you. Divot, as you've come to harness more and more power, finding yourself standing amongst the rest as far as bards would go. Surely you've, passed into the celestial. Thoricus becoming one of the greatest fighters in the world. It's a challenge after challenge has been thrown at him. And, at the end of your act, several hundreds of people have now, been either saved or slaughtered. There is a respect, you think Beckus would be proud of you as you've grown as a battle master and tried to learn from the many lessons he taught you, and for the first time in quite a while, you allow yourself to think about Beckus without thinking about his end and just those lasting legacies that he's given you, the knowledge that he shared. And so, yeah. you guys are all just kind of sitting around the fire.
All right. Well, I'm super
Thanks, yeah.
impressed with I'm super impressed with Tina's thing, but not to be outdone by my sister, of course. I feel a little different. I have this connection to the Fey magic or whatever that we just experienced, and it just it's got my tank running on full. And I feel super connected to death right now also. I'm firing on all cylinders. So I look down at the ground, and I plunge my skeleton hands into the ground.
You feel it, up to your fingertips. Just the scrimshaw still remains on your arms, Divot. You've got these dark purple magical lines that imbue, go all along the side of the bone arms that you have on either side. You stick your fingers into the earth, and you feel again you're back on real earth. You feel the moisture of the recent rains. You feel the root structures going into the earth, snapping as your sharp fingertips push into the ground. You feel connected to that earth around you. Again, that raw nature that you found able to imbue your abilities with. You feel that power at your fingertips.
And I cast Tiny Hut.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. Yes, Leo. I don't know. Is it
I
just
would love
Tiny
to
Hut now?
describe
It used to
what
be
that looks
Leomans.
like.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely, Divot.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got my hands stuck in the ground, and I kind of look around at everybody because I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm acting like it's going to. And I just pull up from inside the ground this bone dome, right? It's made out of bones and skulls and all this cool stuff. And there's a saloon door on it. And I stand up and I kick in the saloon door. And on the inside, it's the most plush, lavish smoking lounge that you've ever seen. And I'm I turn around and look at them and I'm welcome to the green room.
I look at the rest of the group and I say, well, if he wasn't hungry, he could have just said so.
I'm just glad he kicked it for once.
Yeah. I eat a mole leg. I'm looking at her
All right, so yeah, you guys are kind of hit in the face by the smell of some sweet incense, and it's got that total the homie's house. So there's probably some tapestries on the wall, a couple of them incense burning. All the pillows seem to just feel real good and nice, and you see where this orb of magic is, where that encapsulates this green room, the smoker's den, summoned by Divot. You can kind of see there's a transparent film between you and the outside, and you feel that breeze that was blowing through the Dryad's Cult doesn't actually blow through here, and the air is breathable, the temperature is nice and warm and comforting. It's as if he summoned this small little pocket dimension for you all to rest within.
Nice.
Impressive.
Is there a shitter in here?
I have no idea.
All right.
What's the role for is there a shitter in here?
First things first.
Survival?
Where's the shitter?
Maybe.
Can you shit in here? Yes. Is there a bathroom? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I would say there is, yes.
Please don't shit in here. Don't shit in here.
That's actually what I use this for.
Oh,
Shit hut.
All right. Well, I
I
lost
was
my
gonna call it
appetite.
Yitza Hut. Because it's
Aww.
Yitza. We can have all the Yitzas.
All right, so
Anytime
yeah,
you go
you
to
guys
Yitza
are
Hut,
safe.
have to
So
use the bath.
just so you know, beings from the outside cannot get in here. Spells from the outside that target inside the spell cannot get there. This is, just so y'all know, DMs tend to not like this spell. I don't really have too much of a problem with it. As long as, just as a
Hell
DM,
yeah.
look, talk to your player. Just be like, hey, don't cast Tiny Hut after every fight, and we'll be cool.
Yeah.
It is a third
We
level
were
spell.
talking about
it
taking
takes-
a rest anyway. I thought it'd be a cool
Right.
flavor.
No, I love it. Yeah.
I
And
love your
so
flavor.
yes, I do. Like I said, do not apologize for using the magic that you are given. We can always cross any problems as we run into them. But I don't have a problem with this, man. And in fact, it helps. Now you guys don't have to do the we find an inn or you guys are just set up to go. Plus it's divots, and I want to hang out there.
Yeah. Well, we're all in here now, and my false cheery demeanor kind of slips away. Shall we assign shifts and rest then?
You guys go ahead. I don't need to rest as
I was
much.
gonna say that. So he's good. That's why Papa likes to sleep so much.
I want to have a conversation with the bartender that doesn't actually exist
Oh, you mean the
while
one you
they're
did-
resting.
Oh Lord.
It's I'm see, you got to stop complimenting me, man. I appreciate it, but you got to stop.
I will say, okay, so Leomin's hut is about a 10 by 10 space. So you're all pretty close to each other. And there's one thing in all of these many descriptions that you may not have noticed until perhaps this point right now. And that
Look,
is...
he was like that when I got here.
Divot's skin is rotting. So Divot actually smells a little bit like a corpse right now. And as you're, again, as in the heat of so much over the past, crazy several hours for your characters, but for us, the players, past months, has been series of crazy things after another, and your focus has been mostly on these events. But sitting in such a confined space, in this bone palace room smoke area that he's made for you, you can't help but feel that pungent smell of musty death. As you look at his skin, it's not rotting and falling off in chunks, but you see his skin is loose. And where the red mask of death, digs into the flesh, you can see the scarring from where the face is healed around it. It's quite a sight to look at Divot, the lightning dodger, after having known him even for just this matter of, months that you guys have been adventuring together. And yeah, now more than ever is, the lighting of the room and everything suits him, and he's, letting you guys know that he doesn't really need to sleep as much as you guys do and things like that. It's just kind of the strangeness of the situation settles in a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I've fallen asleep on the battlefield a bunch of times. I'm used to the smell of death, so right on, buddy.
He's done us a solid with this bitchin' little hut. I'm gonna throw a little prestidigitation his way just to make the smell a little better. I can do that on other beings, right?
Yes,
so
you
he
can.
smells better to all of us.
Yeah,
And
prestidigitation.
I realized that I also could have done that, but it just didn't occur to me, and I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, you know how you don't smell your own stink? You weren't even thinking about it?
Exactly.
That's what friends are for, man. That's what friends are for.
When people
Hey.
are like, you smell like weed, and you're like, no way. Oh, no, yeah, that tracks. That
Crazy.
tracks.
Well, dealing with life, Tina recognizes the smell of death just as easily as she recognizes the smell of life. And I'll stay up with you, Divot.
Okay.
I look over at the non-existent bartender, and I'm like, excuse me. And I can come over and walk over to you.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll be, you know what? I'm dead. So,
Wait, did we see this non-existent bartender?
no.
Okay. I was like, all right.
Rial, do you want to take the first shift or the second?
I'll stand watch first. You get some rest. You fought hard out there.
Cha, I sure
Yeah.
did, Cha. Cha. And then I wanna start shoving around because we're all close to each other.
Oh.
Like we all
I'm gonna
do.
need a roll for joshing, Brunor. Hit me when doing a Josh check.
Come on.
Maybe you just can't read the room. You're like a dog at a funeral. You're just like, huh? Yeah, guys, this is fun. Oh my gosh. Josh crit, baby. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Superior
the dice gods.
Best thing to josh on. Crit on.
All right, Brunor. You start what might be described by historians in a later time, what might be considered the greatest Josh session of all time, as the many strange truths and hidden secrets of the group, start making everybody eyeball each other suspiciously, asking about who should watch and when. Brunor, your ability to just bring the Josh. You start knuckling around with people, and again, as the laughter starts to ping, the old effect that Divot had comes back, and you watch as like this little wave of happiness, of laughter, and just good intentions as you all josh and kind of knuckle around and just blow off a little of this high epic fantasy steam. Camera pans out, and it's like, and they joshed that night.
Cha, literally, I feel like we should, I'm glad that we could have this laugh together.
Yeah.
We had some seriously weird shit happen. I told you a lot, and we found out that everyone's, pretty fluid sexually, which is kind of cool to find out from all of us, and
In your
got
little
no
10 by 10
shame.
room.
we found out look at us. We're great. This is awesome. Alright, I'm exhausted as fuck. I need to take a nap. I'm fucking tired. Later!
Yeah,
You know-
get some sleep.
Brunor, it is quite a task to make both a bed and have room for Brian. So you chose the latter in this situation, and you just kind of had Brian lay on top of this bed, and you know how to groove right in between his neck and his wings to make like a nice little perch for yourself, and you lay on your big, thick, wiggly boy, and you both drift off to sleep. Who else is, we're going to do, like I said, we're going to break it into a pretty conventional long rest mechanic here. Who's doing first watch?
I'll do first watch.
Do we need 3 people on watch? I mean, Divot said he'd keep watch.
So I'll say something a little different. What is nice about Liamon's tiny hut is it's like, even if like a dragon walked up, you could just be like, oh, hey, look, there's a dragon outside. Like, man, it's going to suck when we get outside of this place. But until then, we're okay. So yeah, it's not as perilous in the nighttime. You might just be like, hey, look, there's a bad thing out there. Maybe we'll kill it tomorrow.
I noticed that Rial also has volunteered for the watch, and after that great joshing sesh, I'm like, all right, I'll get a little bit of rest right now. I'm tired. I just cooked a great meal.
Yeah, Tinna, you missed the hug of all the flowers. But you settle up on a good bed and set yourself to rest. So yeah, whoever's staying awake, I need one of you, whoever it is, to roll me 1d20.
You want to get some rest, best friend, or?
Oh yeah, no, I'm already halfway there.
So I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say I'm continuing to talk to this bartender that doesn't exist.
You see Magnus. He's still there. You see his bloody outline. He kind of has followed you all along, but we've never gotten to see this window in your mind. The burden of this man that you murdered first for death. He kind of turns and looks at you.
Yes! Oh my god, yes! Okay, thank you.
Yes. You see Magnus, he's just kind of standing there. He's like Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. He's just kind of been with you this whole time, And you see him just kind of looking around at this little green room that you've made. And he has like a tendency to like walk up and like look right in the faces of the people that are living, and he always looks back at you with these strange expressions. Like now that he's severed from life, he doesn't quite understand what these people are doing anymore. And so you see he comes up to you and he's like, "Oh, Divot, what a mess you're all in."
I'm like, I told you, you're not allowed to talk to me like that in front of my friends.
They're falling asleep. Don't you worry about it. So, how are you gonna make amends for my death, eh? Draws a big puff off his astral cigar.
Your death made amends for your life. I was just an instrument.
I can hear what he's saying, but not the bartender, right?
Correct.
Because I was like, oh. Because I didn't see this corpse at all. I didn't know who this guy was until I saw him in the blood. So I have no. But still, just
you
hearing
see
say
Divot,
that shit
the Revenant Divot, looking over, kind of talking as if there's somebody sitting in the chair next to him, muttering under his breath. He's no fool. But Rial, you have a pretty amazing passive perception. So even if he was talking pretty low, you would be able to kind of. And so yeah, you're making out the words that Divot's saying right now.
Ah, Christ, when are you gonna let that go? Death told me to kill you.
It's true, Divot. I did a lot of bad things in my life. But that doesn't make you not a murderer.
Well, now I don't know which one of us is crazier. The dead guy talking to the dead guy, or the dead guy talking to the dead guy.
You see, he goes, cheers to that. And as he reaches down, he swipes up this glass made of blood, and he drinks almost a gallon of blood in this great swill. And Divot, even though you've been able to fight off these emotions, just every time you look at him, he's more and more twisted, reminding you more and more of one simple fact. You're already technically dead. It's just a matter of time until it all becomes official. And so as you've carried this burden of this murdered man with you this far, purging him, letting that gallon of blood flow out of you in the magic of the Feywild, sharing your burden with your friends a little bit, maybe you're not as good as not talking to him in a moment. You let yourself slip a little bit. Rial overhears you.
I do. I pony on over. I don't want to intrude, but I see he's having a conversation. I don't want to interrupt or anything, but I'll kind of pop nearby. Got room for 3.
Oh, Rial, I was just working on an original piece.
Original pieces are always the best, my friend. And oddly enough, and I mean, it's fucking rad as hell. Something I want to do, just kind of as we were talking and idling, I want to reach into my rucksack, my inventory, and pull out the severed Medusa hand and start chopping off whatever flesh is left on that and start collecting that together.
It's at this point now, the encounter with Celia, the Medusa in Buraka, was so long ago. The
didn't get her
skin
name.
comes off pretty easily. And so, yeah, you start cutting these slits, and Rial, your dagger, slicing the skin off. Divot, as you look at Rial, just kind of smiling, you hear the heartbeat. Do, do. Again, you always have to fight this strange impulse as if the very force of your life is tangled in with the essence of Rial. And even though he's reaching his hand out in this moment, you do feel that, and you can push it back as you like.
Yo, I see him cutting that hand up, and I'm like, there's a bit of Sisyphus left in you yet.
You guys know this is a 10 by 10, right? Just saying.
Thoricus grumbled angrily. Later that night.
I'm just gonna keep. But yeah, making eye contact still, like that hurts. And hearing it from Divot too. I idolized Divot a little bit. Yeah, that one hurt. My worst fear, so it's. I don't have much to say to that. I just kind of go back to my hand whittling.
When Thoricus rolled over, I want to cast deafness on him because he's complaining about us being loud.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Rial, you're kind of like trying to focus on your whittling, and you just see, the red mask of death, skin hanging off Divot's face. He just kind of skeleton finger just pops a little silence. You're an arcane user as well. You understand the spell, or deafness. You see him just help Thoricus out. You guys can talk.
You have to kill me. Is it for the same reasons you had to kill whoever was in that pool of blood?
He doesn't even remember my name. You see Magnus sit back rejectedly.
Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
Not you. I'm sorry. Look, I'm just gonna level with you. You know where you came from. I do too. I have to eliminate all existence. That you ever existed, that he ever existed, that he ever existed, in order for me to move on. I'm already dead. In a cool way. But I'm already dead.
Always in a cool way. And we can't help where we come from. Huh? Something we don't have much sway over. But I'll help you kill this big bad synthesis before you have to do what you have to do. At least I have to offer.
Hey, and look, I'm gonna level with you. I love you, man. I don't want to kill you. Also, I'm only gonna have control of my mortal form for as long as one of the three of you is still alive. The second I succeed in my task, I don't really know what's gonna happen to me. So, no rush on my end, buddy.
Right on. Right on. I'll pull him in for it's slightly uncomfortable, but mostly just it just sometimes you just gotta hear it. What the situation's gonna be. You have your own perception so much, especially such a perceptive character. So just hearing
and being that close to you, I get anxiety the farther away from you I am, even though the closer I get to you, the more I want to kill you. So even though I'm very conflicted, I'm also the calmest I've been in a long time in that moment when we're holding each other.
And I'll even say it, I'm like, if anyone's gonna kill me, it'd be pretty great if it was you.
Awesome. So yeah, you guys, that you both kind of get back to your... Oh yeah, go ahead.
what's the progress? Have I at least gotten most of the flesh off of that hand while we were
Absolutely.
talking?
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to present that because I kept that hand. Originally, it was going to be for a trophy, but I have some other means for it. But Divot, if you can even remember when you slayed the Medusa, this definitely fits your aesthetic all the better. And I'll hand him the bone hand of Medusa.
Dope.
What was her name? Acelia?
Acelia. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't ask her for her name. We just kind of...
That's the curse of the Dungeon Master. I'll just throw names at you if you guys miss them eventually. I'll be like, yeah, she had a name. It was Acelia. But yeah,
I appreciate that.
You just heard
And
it
I
from
will
some
keep
random
the,
mercenary in Buraka.
Oh, perfect. It's Acelia!
Oh, Acelia, she's dead. That's tight.
But I will keep the flesh that I discarded from the hand. I am going to hang on to that.
Sweet. For some of that reals. Weird shit.
Yeah,
What?
I'm like super weird. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you like turn around, you see like a
Hey,
candelabra,
buddy.
and you're like, you just like switch it out for the
Thing out.
Medusa hand. Thorcus, for a second, you're like, oh god.
You might be deaf, but you forgot to turn your Rakitagi up, right? So I can still hear everything you can hear.
All right.
Right in the back of the mind.
Oh my god, that was good. All right, with that, we'll say that's first watch. Go ahead and one of you two gentlemen, please give me a D20 roll.
I got you.
Awesome. What do we got?
Oh, that's good, right? One is
How
good.
roll 20 is that?
Oh,
I'm sleeping. I didn't
Oh,
see.
one. Oh. Right after the 20. All right, hey, rules are rules. Don't forget to crit hit, baby.
wake up,
I'm
everyone.
sleep smoking.
I hit the bong while I'm smoking a joint. That was-
Everybody who's rolling over and hitting a bowl looks like everyone I lived with in college.
All right. So yeah. Real Divot, please give me a perception check.
Oh, boy.
Oh, big money, no whammies.
What's outside our green room?
What's gonna try to kill?
It's just like
You said perception?
yeah, perception.
Advantage or not? I got 19.
No advantage on this one, just a standard
Okay.
straight across perception roll. All right,
Oh,
so
well,
as you're both sitting at this table, you know, having this conversation, again, like the lineage of both of your destinies is kind of like subtly at play in this conversation, and you find yourselves being hyper focused in these moments, you know, trying to look at each other's subtle movements. Like, is this you actually, you know, none of what you said is a lie. There was no deception check involved, because these are all the true statements. Like Real, you're like, if I had to choose my end, you know, the Divot, this you know, is somebody that you could die to. You know, you look at him and you see the adventurer that's been on this journey with you. But in that sense, both of you kind of lose a little more of your perceptory sense outside of the bubble. Just before, you know, the end of your shift, you hear a fluttering of birds. You kind of look over in the darkness. You know, not the darkness, the sun is still outside, but you have to look through the artificial darkness the Divot creates inside. And you kind of like look out, you just see some birds fly away and nothing more. If you guys have anything else you want to do, that would be first watch, and then our second watch people would be up.
I come in real quick, like makes him a little nervous, but I'm just like, you should get some rest.
All right, yeah, you
Will
see
do,
Divot doesn't
will do.
necessarily have the same need for sleep. And you know, even as an elf, Real, you only need half the time as a normal human. As a human.
Yeah, I'm resting, but I don't have to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Figured
And the
it out.
rest, again, that's eating, rest, just letting your wearied bones rest in a chair for a little while, managing your magical energies, things of the sort. And so, yeah. All right, so if that's it, then our second watch peeps are up. Bruno or Tina, you guys wake up. Thoricus, you know. Yeah, go ahead, Real.
Can I talk to Tina as she's getting up, actually?
Absolutely. Yeah, you see them start waking up. You know, your guys' turn is done, and it's time. You can wake her up first if you'd like.
I'll unmute her real fast. Unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
she-
But even before you get to me, I notice like the first second I open my eyes, I feel fantastic. Like I feel top of the world purple. And before I went to bed, I did talk to Shantia a little bit, and I switched up some spell slots, and I have some new spells, and I wanted to make sure that I have Revivify on me. So I wake up and I just feel fortified and strong.
Yeah, you see, again, as this newer connection with Shantia takes light, she's so happy to have you once more in her embrace. The river, the raging river that flows through you, now more like a calm brook, and everything just feels in place and correct. And one of your greater fears is losing one of these allies that you've grown throughout this journey, the family that you forged for yourself after getting dealt a bad hand in the real world. And so you basically ask her to instill you with the light of life itself. And being a life domain cleric and so connected to that energies, you feel as she places this powerful ability within your fingertips, the spell Revivify can bring back people from the dead.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Excellent. I have also awakened. Hello, my friends. Did anything happen during my slumber?
I slept weird. I can't hear out of this ear. And it sounds like you're coming from over where Rial is.
Oh.
What the
That's
fuck is
kind
going
of
on?
cool. I like that. That's cool.
What?
Well,
I could take a look at that for you later.
I feel like I'm deaf,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah,
can
you're
still
good.
hear, but only in this ear.
I'm like, oh, weird, and I call it off.
That's so weird, man. Oh, you just hear a little skeleton
okay.
finger snap.
There it is. That's good scrimshaw.
But yeah, how was the watch, guys? Everything go okay?
Yeah. What's up? Did you guys have any weird conversations with each other? Or?
No.
Just catching up. Just catching up.
Yes,
Cool.
just talking about ketchup.
You see
Mustard,
Divots just holding the
alright.
skeleton
You want
hand of
ketchup? I have
Medusa.
ketchup if you want ketchup for breakfast.
gee, so I must have been there. Am I right?
Yeah.
You guys. All right. You have a good.
Yes,
You have a good now.
constant.
Like Biggie
Excellent.
Smalls, it was all a dream.
Yeah, you guys can see out of, like I said, Divot's kind enough to turn the lights down for you in a world of constant brightness. But you can see outside of this transparent dome this little magic dome you're in. Looking around, you don't see, there's no real commotion or anything outside of the,
Oh.
like I said, the birds.
I'll let him know about the birds. Like what direction the birds came from.
Yeah, the birds kind of came around from the southern side area.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
There was some birds.
Oh, birds.
Birds down south. We don't know the business, but
Now,
we also don't know what they're flying away from. Seems like a safe
or
hut.
they could just be birds.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool hut, Divot.
Oh, thank you.
They tend to fly around sometimes.
And having never actually been in the hut before, it's just something I used to think about. I start perusing the perimeter to see if it's actually built to spec.
So yeah, Divot, it's
10 by
it's
10.
it's like you used a magical image of what was in your mind. And so when you stand, 10 feet away from the other wall, it's kind of hazy and blurry. But as you walk up, whatever you want to be there forms. And so, you see what just kind of a shifting wall of bone. And as things come into focus, there's this bone cuckoo clock, just ticking away. You hear the clockwork gears on the inside, and a small death comes out, goes back into the clock, And
I'm
so-
like, oh my god, I wonder if. And I open the front of the cuckoo clock, and is there a twisted up, blunt looking thing in there maybe?
Yeah, a little bone. You
And I'm
you
like,
kind of
"Oh!"
take it out. It's got a tube through it. You
No way.
pull it out like, ooh, all right.
And yeah, I'll smoke to that.
I immediately light it up to see if it does anything.
Yeah, so I mean, it's built
Strawberries
into,
taste
again,
like
this
strawberries.
tiny hut. It's basically built for comfort. It's built for you guys to have a nice long rest in. And so you find the magical elements of it, Divot. It doesn't necessarily, have the potency of, say, some of these harsher mushrooms that you've, had along the way. But it does help soothe you in the way that your magic has that calming effect, that feeling of the bar, the hearth at the inn. And so, as you kind of call upon that magic, even smoking this thing, even though it's magical of design, it does help you feel, rested and a little more protected and safe. And again, being able to make it a little dark is always nice when it's been the same sun in the sky.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'd like to poke my head outside and see if I see anything or hear anything crazy or,
No,
I'd like
don't
Decapitated.
seal.
Oh gosh.
Oh no, Bruno! We didn't tell you
Now,
about
correct
that part
me
of
if
the
I'm
spell.
wrong, but you guys can come and go through as entities that were in the barrier when I created it. You can come and go.
Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Cha.
Zing. And then
All
you
right.
can leave the hut.
Oh, I get it.
So, Bruno, you go from like a nighttime darkness to middle of the day, immediately. It's pretty striking to the eyes. You feel the sunlight kind of beating down even through your eyelids. You see that like red light is all you can see, and it takes a second for your eyes to focus. But again, as you kind of step out, it's like, oh yeah, like it's the Dryad's Cult. We've been here. You look around. It's nice and calm now. Without treants, it's not really that bad of a place. You see the gorgeous, beautiful fairy flowers ringing around the now destroyed time sundial. And yeah, you kind of start looking around. They had mentioned that the sound came from the south, and so you kind of start meandering your way down that way. Do you want to bring Brian with you? What are you doing?
Yeah, I want to bring Brian with as well. That would be choice, and it also makes some room for Rial and whoever else, because Brian
Yeah.
takes up some space.
It's true, and Brian definitely snores. Like I
Yeah.
know that about him.
Oh,
Yeah.
buddy.
All right.
He's a snorer.
So yeah, Bruno, you and Brian, you kind of emerge from the thing. You see Brian kind of having the same experience as he kind of looks around and glances, kind of takes a quick look around to make sure that everything's safe. You see he doesn't really detect any threats or anything. And as you guys kind of start walking south, you notice that he kind of stops suddenly.
Oh no.
And he's just kind of looking. And in front of you here, there's this like little like stone square. It's probably about 5 feet tall, just a big chunk of brick from whatever. It's not even part of the sundial. These were here originally. The dryads were dancing on them as part of that ceremony. But it looks like Brian has kind of pinged something on the other side of that rock.
Oh no.
It's not that treasure chest, is it?
Brian, man. Are you?
You see,
Are
he kind
you
of looks at
okay?
you. He makes he like tips his nose in the air and then looks at you, and he kind of, you guys can actually communicate rudimentary ideas to each other, and basically he kind of like justifies what that thought, that it's like he's like, there's something behind that.
Okay. Friend or foe?
You see him smell the air, and he just kind of shrugs. He doesn't know.
Okay. I say it louder then. Towards the rock. Friend or foe?
You hear no response.
Fucking damn son of a bitch. Okay, I don't want to get too far away. Did anyone from inside the tent hear me yell friend or foe?
Yo, I definitely like see this happening,
Yeah.
right? I'm like sitting at the bar.
I'm like, can
And
you guys,
I
can you
look at
guys
the
all
bartender like, hold on.
Magnus
Like-
is just drinking blood.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
done inside the tent. Like I was gonna go outside too.
All right, yeah. So
Okay.
whoever walks out, you basically catch them all up to speed. It's like there's something behind that rock.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Cha.
I have a riddle for you. I'm just kidding.
And also,
It's actually a bet
what's,
with
okay.
myself.
What's your bet?
I can't say it because I don't want to be wrong and then lose the bet.
That's how bets work.
Well, I've already won. I've already
Alright.
won.
It's already won.
That tracks. So I take my
Why
shield
not?
out
Yeah.
and I start walking forward.
I can't believe anybody left the hut.
You're a little hurt at how
Are you
they
like-
didn't leave like a comment card or anything. They were just like, all right, we're done.
They didn't even sign the guest book.
They better leave us a 5-star review on TripAdvisor. I swear to.
All right, Bruno.
Well,
So
you're not
you
facing whatever that is alone, Brunor. And I go with her as well.
you've got all your
yeah.
peeps there.
That's why I waited for you guys. Hell no, I'm not a stupid.
You put your hand on the
You
big
got
5-foot
You
stone.
stupid.
No splinters to be found on this rock. And
Splinter free.
and you kind of like get ready with your shield and your sword, and you pop around and you look down, and there's just this little treasure chest, gold bandings, soft brown wood, and it's just sitting there behind this big giant rock. You know, you're like running it back in your mind. You're like, wait a minute, like I was fighting right over there. There was the tree in, and you're like, it doesn't make any. And you just kind of look down. There's this treasure chest.
It wasn't like that when we got there.
You're sleeping. Pal.
It wasn't like that.
Huh.
Okay. Hey, so there's a treasure chest over here.
Oh yeah, the one like way down south. That one.
I didn't see that one. I have no idea about that one, but I do know about this one that's right here. So.
Oh.
Are we
okay.
gonna open it? Let's open it. I want to open it.
I want to open it too, but I want to open it with my axe.
Can anyone open it from far away?
I mean, yeah, it's currently it's a treasure box that is sitting on the other side of this rock. I mean, you guys are free to do whatever you want with it. I don't know why Drew's all nervous.
Oh, we can put it on the butt.
I'm not nervous.
It seems like you're nervous.
I mean, you can do the
just don't wanna
honors,
lose this bet.
Thoricus, if you really want to. You can do the honors.
Yeah, Thoricus, if you wanna, I don't. However, we open it, whether it's through force or
Yeah.
friendship.
As
I
she's
don't care.
talking, I run up the rock, take both axes out, and just come down and fucking cross-cut that bitch.
All right, so as you're coming down, you see this treasure box that's sitting as if it's like coming up at you almost. You see it jump in the air, and it meets your battle axe. It actually has a ready to action, Thoricus. You get an attack of opportunity on it. It's going to try to run away.
Good luck.
So you do get an AOO. 14 AC is not good enough. So you see as, again, you were eyeballing the target. You didn't really expect it to move. You had an idea in mind of what this may be.
Come on.
Hearing
Yeah, I didn't
talk
have
of these
advantage
things.
on that.
As you bring your axe down, it lands in the dirt, and you just watch this little like treasure box, like brave little toaster his way, just like dook, 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 and he runs about 40 feet away from you guys.
Fort shit.
What does it look like when it's running away?
You actually don't see the front of it, so from the back, it just, like I said, kind of brave little toasters. You kind of just see the treasure chest itself like bouncing around, but you see a little bit of blur under where its movement is coming from. You can't really tell too well. Some of you guys are still pretty far away still.
Okay.
So we're actually gonna roll initiative here. Go ahead and give me. You guys are also aware of a movement coming from your immediate east on the other side. The path that leads into the Dryad's Cult. As you kind of see this treasure box like run away, you hear kind of like a startled like, huh? And so you're also aware something is over there. But let's go ahead and I'm sorry, wait for it. There we go. Wait, I'm so sorry, I'm the worst. Everybody's gonna wait. I gotta delete it.
Yeah, while we're waiting, quick question. Did the time in the hut, was that long enough to count as a rest for
Everybody
me?
long rests. Yeah, you guys, it's, again, the Liamon's tiny hut is a great thing. You have the bounty of the 20 that Tina rolled on her survival, that cornucopia of Shantia. So yeah, you all get the long rest.
So does that fill us up on hit points?
Oh yeah, long rests are dope. You get all your hit points back, you get all your spells back, all your abilities are back. Second winds, action surges are everything. You get all those back.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like and since you guys leveled up too, you're actually at your max hit points probably for the first time too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
That's why I was asking.
Bro, like you're gonna tell me that treasure chest knew I was coming? That treasure chest that didn't have eyes, so I wouldn't have gotten advantage on that? Come on.
He also got a 22 on his initiative.
And then after that, I roll a fucking 1.
Oh,
Oh yes,
Oh,
there's
man.
both a 20 and a 1 in this, so we're gonna do my favorite little double off here. Let's call it one hit, one sip. Don't forget to crit sip, folks. Hydrate. It's very important.
Get ported.
All right, so who I don't have Divot. I don't have you, and I'm sorry. You probably rolled before. Actually, oh, you got a 19.
Yeah, I rolled a 19.
Let me. I'm just gonna add you
Oh.
here. Do roll 20 song.
You rolled after yours. Just roll. Just
The
roll
internet
down.
is a lawless land, Drew.
Saying like Bam rolled and then you rolled it because I can see Bam's 20 and then you're 19 underneath it.
Yeah, it did
I was
roll.
gonna-
It's weird. It just didn't add it to the turn order.
Ah.
It's
And I selected my token and everything.
Man,
Huh.
lies. It's all lies.
Does it want this fire?
all right. All right. So to start this, actually, our mystery guest also gets an initiative. I apologize.
Mystery guest.
Mystery guest.
Oh, fingers crossed for Bob Barker.
Oh!
All right. So
yeah.
He
the.
wants the whole thing.
I'm with someone else.
All right, this chest, well enough at first, you see suddenly as it's turn, it does manage to go first in initiative, rolling hot with that crit on the initiative. You see it turn back at you, and in this moment, this simple banded gold treasure chest turns, and you see it just start shaping, and you see almost like muscle tissue, and it's like where instead of boards, it's skin, and this long purple tongue starts spitting out of its mouth. And you see a mimic.
Of course.
I don't want to open it anymore.
Fuck you, Val.
I'm glad.
Oh, we finna open it.
You see it like this little purple thickety tongue, but again, it's got the drop. It's got the and it's no fool. You see it. It uses both its action and its move to disappear into the woods surrounding the dryad. It's cool. It uses its full movement. So it definitely is in the trees, and it also has some pretty hefty advantages. So yeah, you see it takes its turn and it runs into the trees.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can we just go right back into the hut?
Yup.
Yeah.
See, now
Let's
you
go
all
to
know
Heck Guy.
why-
That's
why-
not a bad idea.
Yeah, Papa's been
Back to-
around.
Back
I
to
knew
the hut.
that was a fucking fake treasure.
Some of us still have to rest. Yeah. Let's go back in the hut.
This is
Okay,
so you know,
so
this is like
I-
one of the reasons
I-
DMs would be like, no.
I've just been in the hut the whole time watching this.
Yeah, you didn't break your concentration or anything, Divot. This is just you just watched basically a treasure chest run away from you and flick a purple tongue at you.
I'm like, if I
So yeah, you guys are like,
Sure, us
let's go
can
back
deal with that,
outside.
right, guys? Yeah.
I guess I'll take another nap.
Thoricus, the idea of not one but two naps.
My
You see as
God.
you walk in, Divot didn't even eat his mole egg, bro. It's just laying there on his little bone table, and you're like, well, he's not even hungry. I could probably. And you go and you grab it, and what do you find behind it? But another one. And it's like 2 mole eggs for 2 naps. You
So
rest
many
your-
mole eggs.
Your weary battle master body. And as you guys kind of like, just like, all right, well, let's go back in our magical pocket dimension of safety. You kind of laugh like, crazy treasure chests, right? And step back into the green room. And then you hear like you just kind of forget for a moment. You hear all of a sudden like a goom, 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 goom on the outside of this magic dome. And you turn and you look.
What's the password?
And you see the familiar face of an old friend. Oop. Boom. And you hear, the Ferocious Five.
Yeah!
So good to see you again. And there stands Ubaru once more. And that's where we're going to pick it up after intermission, guys.
I just won $20.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hey!
All
Ubar-
right.
U-
Holy
Ubar.
crap, buds. That was a lot of fun. And hey, when you got a mimic, what the heck? Mimic, right? Mimic until your dreams come true. That's what we always say here. All right, dudes. We're going to do 10 minutes. We showcase all of the incredible fan art that is submitted to the show. Thank you so much to all the artists. We highly encourage anybody to send us anything. We love creation and making of things. And if this show helps inspire that in any way, it is our great treat as artists to see that stuff. So thank you so much to the people who have submitted. And to those who have not yet, please, I can't wait to just be thrilled with your work. We also have the wonderful songs of Sandy Stein. We've got the new Real theme. Again, congrats. Crits and the Tantrums requested the Real or the Kindly theme be made, and we did. We got to use that in our little sad moment a couple weeks back. And so yeah, please enjoy all of this wonderful art. It is our very great treat to be a part of it. So we'll see you guys in 10 minutes for the resolution of this crazy shit.
That mimic is what I like to call a tomorrow problem.
Yeah, future us can deal with that.
He ran away. What's he gonna do? Welcome back, buds. Woo! What a dope little cliffy hanger moment there. Longtime former ally of the Five, Ubaru, has returned. Man, I'm excited. So we're just gonna jump back in, guys. You're all sitting around, in the green room, as aptly named by our good man Divot. In this tiny hut spell that he has that, has basically granted you guys kind of like a nice protection from the outside elements, other than, when you go chasing treasure chests that come to life. And so, yeah, you're back in, and you, like I said, you hear the tap, and you look up, and there he is, Ubaru. You see his tan, dark, withered skin, his white beard, bald head. He's still kind of wearing the same style of robes, but they're much cleaner, now, rather than like mud-stained and gray after all that action on the Shattered Isles. He has these, kind of nice, clean linens. You see he has this big, giant rucksack that he always carries around with him. And yeah, it's actually just like a nice, again, you're back in the realm of men, and maybe one of the friendlier faces from your history. Ubaru now stands, at your hearth. And Divot, you're getting prepared to augment the magic of the tiny hut to allow him to walk in, and you notice that he just kind of steps in. You smell the perfume, the many different strong, pungent perfumes that he wears, and the smell of spice that always just surrounds him. He sets his rucksack down on the floor and looks up at you. Ah, it is so good to see you again. And then you see he reaches in his little bag, and he pulls out his tea set. It just starts again, kind of like as you guys did in the Tilmore refugee camp. He starts handing around the small teacups to each one of you. And strangely, the teapot that he pulls out of his bag is full of piping hot tea. And he pours it into each of the teacups. And you see him sit down on a little mat inside the green room. And he just seems to be taking you all in. You hear him muttering to himself as he looks at each of you. Ah, the shadow piercer. As his eyes fall on Rial, looking over, seeing Thoricus, the champion of the Raka. Looking over at Brunor, the sea serpent herself. Looking over at Tenna, the champion of the goddess Shantia. And he tips himself, a gentleman's tip of his teacup to you. And looking over, his eyes finally settle on Divot. And for a moment, you see him kind of like take in the sight that is Divot. Since last he saw him. I'm the lightning dodger himself. He offers his teacup to you guys. He seems very pleased to see you.
Sorry it's so cramped in here. It's only a 10 by 10, but thank you for the tea. It's delightful.
It is excellent to see you, Ubaru. How is everybody at the village?
Tilmore, right?
You don't know? We received your message to bring the refugees from Tilmore under guard of the Stone Reavers of Buraka. When they arrived, the people of Tilmore wished us gone. It was best we stop infringing on their lands. The Stone Reavers, however, wreaked vengeance upon Breckus the Mired.
Oh, fuck that guy.
He had broken the mercenary code. They said it must be done. It was a bit brutal for my taste. But afterwards, they proved to be staunch guardians, walking us the long journey around the bank of the Mirkwood to Emerella. We met with the Sumner there, and the blacksmith, Tanara, yes.
It's Tanara, but whatever.
Yes, Tanara.
Whatever.
It is a fine village. We are all settling in, the Burakins and the refugees alike. It will take some getting used to. Two different ideologies. But they are settling well. You see, he kind of smiles. They built an idol for you. And the church...
Tubular.
The church has been cleared away and built anew. They now worship the goddess, Shantia. And he kind of gives a little glance over to you, Tenna. You feel that warm river inside. Like, even your lady's pretty proud of that. Like, ooh, nice. Like, set up a new base in your god's honor.
wonderful
You'd
news.
said something about Tanara though. Is she is she doing okay?
You see, he looks over.
I don't care. I left some tools there. I just want to make sure I can get them back.
He says she is with the Sumner. They were both called away to the city of Rivella to the north. Something the king, Graelyn Ferragor himself, required them. His army sits at the edge of Rivella, the border of the Fellsworn land. Perhaps they require her skills. She is a phenomenal blacksmith.
She's all right, I guess. She does some cool
And
stuff.
quite the looker, no?
I don't know. It was dark in there. I mean, you know what forges look like. You know what I mean? Like,
You
when
see
you're
him
in the
pipe
club.
up, and he's like, yes, I remember. She wanted me to give you this.
No. What's up?
And he reaches his hand out, and it's empty. And he's like,
The look
Nothing.
of love.
You got him!
Ubaru.
and he sips his tea.
I offer Ubaru the big cigar I'm smoking on.
He graciously accepts it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, old friend, what brings you to the middle of nowhere so far from where you're supposedly hanging out? I'm so glad to see you, but it is.
I'm not a mimic, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Look, I'm not. Okay, let's just get that out of the way.
Or is
no,
that something a mimic would say?
I'm not a cat. I'm not.
I'm not a cat.
We all have to do one episode in the cat filter.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Yeah, you see Ubaru, answering your question, Divot.
Yes, we feared the worst when we had not heard from you since you left the town with the child, Esmeralda.
Who?
You see him kind of looking around.
It had been nearly a day when Sumner received a request from the king. They headed for the north and requested that I find you. I wandered along the path. We found your carriage in pieces, fearing the worst. I heard the cry of a small child girl, which drew me to a dark hole in the earth. I called for you within and heard no reply. It was then that I smelled a lovely smell. Mole eggs. A childhood favorite of mine.
Then you see him kind of eyeballing like this half a mole egg that's sitting right next to your foot, Thoricus.
Don't even think about
Ubaru!
it. Don't even think about it. I'm gonna come out here.
Marcus,
pull
nonsense.
that kind of. No, he
Oh.
pulled that slick move on me a second ago. Like he didn't just come out here to be a dick, right? And steal the rest of
Ubaru,
my
and I
breakfast.
give him the mole egg.
Fucking mole leg. But she's good though, right? I mean, that's all. Not that I care. I just want to know. Like she's all right though.
Yes,
Right?
she is with the Sumner and the guardians of the Fellsworn
Right.
Kingdom.
All right.
I'm sure
It's
perhaps
fine.
no safer place than with one of the mightiest armies in the world.
All right. Just take your fucking mole leg. It's fine.
You see, he's like, thank you, Thoricus.
Oh, thank you.
And he gives you like a...
It's all right. It's good to see you.
His laughter feels good. Again, it's like all of you, it's almost like a nostalgic remembrance. Like the last time you heard this laugh, you all for a moment, and again, with the infusing of Divot's magic and Tina's meals, that nostalgia, it's like you remember the somewhat innocent adventurers that you were at the time of the last time you heard the laugh of Ubaru, all those many, probably about 2 months ago now, at the Tilmore refugee camp after everything that happened in the Shattered Isles. And so for just a brief moment, you're all that former reflection of yourself, innocent, secretive, your secret's not yet spilled. Tina, you didn't know you had a brother yet, some of these things. So yeah, there's this nice moment of that.
Didn't we melt a guy?
Yeah, and then you
Something
weakened Bernice's
like
body.
that.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sure did that. Ubaru, Do you think you could help us, like, identify any, like, items or anything? Is that something that you could do, or is there someone that you know that could help us with that?
You see his eyebrows kind of perk up. You know, if you recall your first interaction with Ubaru, he was a little bit of a shrewd businessman, working for the main merchants guild in the world. A merchants guild, Tina, you know your dad has like some pretty seedy connections with, you know. But Ubaru, you know, pretty straightforward guy. But you see his eyebrows perk up. You know, antiquities, magical things, trinkets. You know, as a merchant at heart, certainly he seems to be eagerly awaiting what you may have for him to take a look at.
So I just had the thought over intermission. I was like, I have this shield that I could have like taken time to attune to, but like I don't know anything about it, and I'm, you know, like the maiden sport. So I picked it up, and I had these thoughts. I was like, while we were over intermission, I was like, fuck, whatever, I'll do it. So I was like,
Do it now. Yeah, no,
do it
Ubaru. So yeah, he's again, he's like a pretty high up figure in the Merchants Guild. You know, he basically at this point, after the two other merchants were turned to stone in Buraka, and Hopoko the Sack kind of jumped ship and went and worked with the Burakans, you know, Ubaru is probably like the fell-sworn representative of the Merchants Guild. So he's used to being able, you know, he's not necessarily like a wizard, but he has these scrolls and vials and scales and bags, and, you know, he'll pull out like a green piece of glass and look at something as if he sees some strange thing that you can't see with your bare eyes. But he is able to attune to the magical energies of things. So yes, you hand him the
gang. Okay, I want to get him. So I see his eyes light up, and Bruno's like, chaw. So I go and I pull my shield out. They're the Maiden's Board, right? And you kind of described it as like this big thing with like, it looks like the front of a ship, and it's got like a lady on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I pull that out and I kind of show it to him, and I flip it and let him take a good look at it. Have you ever seen anything like this before? And I hand it to him.
His eyes grow wide, and you see as he moves his hands toward it. Bruno, you're the only one that knows the watery effect that you have around this thing, where sometimes it feels like the whole world is underwater. And you watch as he moves his hands toward the shield, and you can see in his eyes the appreciation that he has for this ancient wood that you felt spoke to you. You know, and his hand starts moving like the waves of water. Oh, Bruno. And you see he finally, when his hands touches it, he closes his eyes, and you see him like he's like calculating something in his mind. And he sets it down, and he pulls this strange scale out, rests it on top of it, and you see he kind of like stops interacting with you guys. You know, he sets his tea down, and he's just so fascinated by this item. He starts running his hands over it, reading incantations off of scrolls, and then he suddenly like stops, and he looks up at you. Strange. Never have I seen an item that was made for someone before. This, Bruno, is a legacy relic. And this is where I explain what a legacy relic is. So if this is another homebrew, this is part of the Ganjaria campaign setting that we will be launching with our show, with the live version of our show. But yeah, so legacy items, I think as a DM, I like the notion of a magic item that levels up with you. And so what legacy relics do is they function every 4 levels, they unlock some new potential. Now, you guys are all level 8 now, so you will have the first 2 tiers of those powers unlocked, and you don't quite know what will be unlocked at level 12, level 16, and then ultimately level 20. The concept of this is that these magic items are attuned to your very spirit. You know, the cyclical nature of the Shekinah prophecy that you've heard mentioned from various NPCs along the way. The notion, as if you remember when you were walking as balls of light in that long darkness, watching this cyclical pattern return. The giant shadow grows, the fight of the light against the darkness, and then reborn again are the 5 dots moving along. The only alteration that you saw in that pattern was Divot one time became the giant shadow. But again, the cycle renewed, you know, and so there's this idea that somehow you guys have connected through your legend to these legacy items that are connected to the destiny within you, and so they too will grow as great warriors' weapons grow with them through their journey. So, what that means in sheer statistics, Brunor, the Maiden's Bort, which is its true name, and it shall always be, is a +1 shield, and then Brunor as well. The ability unlocked at level 8 is you can cast the spell Water Breathing once per day. Now, you can breathe underwater, but this spell targets multiple people. So you can give the entire party the ability to breathe underwater once per day. And the spell has a duration. I think we'll look up the spell itself. You can just look it up in the compendium if you have a spare second. But
We're going on vacation, boys!
Water level, everybody!
Woo!
That's what we're worried about. You're dead, bro. Like, you don't even have to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that old hat.
But yes, he hands it back to you,
I'm under the
Brunor.
impression it just means I don't get wet, and I'm very excited about it.
It doesn't ruin your style. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your
That I
skin
can
isn't
get
just
behind.
gonna
Yeah,
swim
I'm
away.
like Squand.
Bubble. You get your own bubble.
As you swim, you're just more and more skeleton.
Oh, God. Ooh.
We really didn't think that out. The mask is floating away. Oh, crap. All right. So, yes, he hands it back to you, holding it as if, a doctor holding a newborn. He's just, his eyes are shining looking at this, and he feels a piece of history being one of the people to hand this back into the hands of Brunor, the sea serpent. And then he kind of like a kid in a candy store starts looking around, like he can feel the mood in the room, like that ain't the only sweet thing you guys got. Let's hit him. What do you got?
Ubaru.
Oh, yeah, I whip it out, most definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
See that thing.
I actually say that. I'm like, well, allow me to whip it out. And I reach down into my sack and, like, flop out this hat.
Okay. So he's like, again, you see the same reverence as he takes the folded fabrics. The jester's cap with the 3 bells, spilling over either side. The green and yellow and gold stitching, as you kind of look at it. It's a pretty majestic cap when all things are said. And it's been in bags and hanging and stuff, but it still looks pristine, not a wrinkle. And he holds it and sets it down. And he starts to reach for like a scale that he had used for the board, but he's like, oh, no. Puts it back in the bag, starts tinkering around. He pulls out this strange wand, and as he kind of like waves the wand over it, you just see like small specks of magic dust sprinkle down on the hat. You hear the bells jingle themselves. The hat of the Harlequin. He hands it back to you, Divot. The hat of the Harlequin gives you +1 armor class and saving throws, so it functions like a ring of protection almost. It also bestows upon you advantage on performance checks.
Nice.
And
What?
then, one more little,
And
at 8th level, you get once per day, you can cast one of these following 3 spells. Mirror Image, Enthrall, and Misty Step.
Ooh.
As he hands it back to you, the cap of a great jester. He explains, able to replicate himself on the stage and play 2 parts at once with Mirror Image. The ability to captivate a crowd with Enthrall, or disappear and appear several floors away with Misty Step. A fine trinket for a fine performer. And he hands it back to you, Divot. All of these do require attunement, just to throw that.
Yeah. Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I immediately put it on and, braid it back.
Dope.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. You find they run as long. It's like almost like a clay. It moves as your skeleton fingers go sculpt over it. So like, how long do you want it to be? Like a ponytail that hangs down? What do you want it to look like? Like the 3 bells twisted together?
Yeah.
Dope. So yeah, you've got this like jesters, you know, you still have like a bell, but it's all 3 bells like kind of braided together like thick dreadnoughts or dreadlocks.
Yeah, you know how young girls will use those like plastic things to do the ends of their hair? I want it to look like that.
There it is.
Nice.
You know, you hear the bells. They seem to only jingle when you want them to accentuate, you know, what you will. As if this hat kind of is made of the essence of performance. You know, you put it on, and there's a calling back to the old divot as you put this on your head. You remember what it felt like to captivate a crowd and bring revelry and joy to life, rather than, you know, so constantly considering the cool embrace of death. And so yeah,
As
he
it tries on his hat, Ubaru, since we have you here, I might as well utilize your services as well. Why don't you try this on for size? And I hand him the ring that I've been wearing.
You know, he reaches out like a courtly gentleman and allows you to place the ring in his hand, and he brings it back. And this time, rather than like reaching for trinkets, you could just kind of see him admiring the kind of simple beauty of this ring, you know, whereas, you know, that rather than some godly stone or some, you know, shimmering color, it's this very plain white ivory cupped hands, you know, the giving benevolence. And he without even like almost as if he's talking about an old friend, he looks at the ring and he says, the ring of benevolence. The sweet guardians of the north were given these to better feed the starving peoples after the purge. And he holds it up and hands it back to you. I could not think a better finger for it to lay on. He sets it down. So again, the D&D of it all. Tina, this also is a ring of protection. You get +1 to your armor class and +1 to all saving throws.
That's it.
And then again, and you. Oh no, hold up. Yes, +1 AC on saves. And then, as part of the Ring of Benevolence, you get an additional +2 to all of your healing spells.
Wow.
So that stacks
Wow.
because you're a cleric of life. I think
Yeah.
I can't remember how much it is, but you're already at a certain amount. That will stack with that. So you will add. I think it's like it might be 6. I believe.
Wow.
I can't remember exactly. To each of your healing spells, including your minor ones, which means even your little healing spells pack a little bit of a punch now. And then kind of the cool thing that unlocks at level 8, once per day, as a reaction, you can cast the spell Shield on a target that you can see within 60 feet of you. Now, Shield is typically a solo spell. It's when somebody hits you with an attack, you can cast Shield and it adds 5 to your AC. Tina, you, through this benevolent guardianship of this ring, are able to kind of use a wizard arcane spell in a divine way. And rather than using it on yourself, well, you could be the target that uses it as well. But it's after a declared hit. So you would know if they hit, you would know if they hit by less than 5. And once per day, as long as they're within 60 feet of you, you can give them this instantaneous reaction +5 to their AC. And shield them from a blow. That 5 lasts until your next turn. So it's like through that round of combat, they get a +5 AC. It's a very powerful wizard spell that is now augmented for divine.
T-Smooth in the house, y'all.
Yeah, these are specifically very potent magic items. You guys, you know, at this point you're at 8th level. You're like I said, you're about to enter a very more dangerous tier. So you know these power. Trust me, they come with as well as like a much more dangerous world that is growing around you. So, but yeah, these are really cool. It also kind of and they will continue to grow with you. So at 12th level, you guys will unlock new abilities within them. And so yeah, okay. So we've done. You know, he places the ring on your finger. You know, not like he's trying to marry you or anything, but he allows you to put it on. But yeah, right. He's like, I got you. We're married now. Sneaky Ubaru. So yeah, but no, he again very respectfully, and again that same piousness that people just tend to kind of show you, whereas before they would like hand you a ring, he kind of dips his head down and presents it to you, you know, as an offering to your grace, so, as it were.
Oh, you can be real with me, Ubaru.
The eyebrows. He's got those white bushy eyebrows. Hey, Ubaru loves ladies. He's got no problem.
Cutesy eye roll at him like a.
Yeah, just
you see he offers to refresh any of your teas that are empty, you know, and you see he's kind of like enjoying this, you know, from what it sounds like this is the end of a pretty big journey for him. You know, they went from Tilmore all the way to Esmeralda, and then pretty soon Sumner and Tanara were called away, and he's like, oh, I'll go look for him, you know, and he's not a young man by any means, and walked the long journey of the way. Ah, yes, you know, and he's happy to be sharing tea with you and updating you, and also like basking in like the evolution of you all. You know, he's one of the people that you know, some of your names, your legends that they'll speak of about you, the songs that will be written about your exploits. You know, he's responsible for some of that. So he's just this little piece of your history, and even he is enjoying this little moment of just like respectfully admiring the growth of you and of the items that you know possess. You know, forging your destinies.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any sugar, Ubaru?
Oh, of course. You know, he reaches in, and you see he pulls out like a bag of sugar, and then he pulls out another littler bag of sugar, and then a smaller bag, and then eventually he pulls out this little tiny bag, and he's like, this is the finest sugar in the world. And he hands it to you. He's like, spun from the webs of a phase spider after a spring breeze. And he just drops one tiny little crystal of sugar. And you see it lands in your tea, and as you put it to your lips, it's the sweetest, most delicious taste you've ever had in your life. It's the essence of sweetness.
Delicious.
I noticed that one of the bags looks a little different, and I'm like, hey, can I see that one?
The eyebrows. David.
Yeah.
You know the price. 40 for 20, 20 will get you 16. And you just start...
Oh, wait. Someone promised to take notes. I gotta take notes.
He's got like a little briefcase in his bag. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, what you need, bro?
I love the briefcase, like it's business. Like everything else is in like satchels and sacks and like all these other things. And then like, and finds the briefcase.
How much you give me for 5? I'll take
This is
5 and
secure
I'll
the back.
here. Cut me a deal, bro. I'm buying in bulk.
It's cheaper.
It is cheap.
All right, so yeah, he hands the ring. You know, and at this point, even he's kind of getting it. So he's kind of just like eyeballing back and forth between Real and Thoricus, like, the tea is good, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
The
there's some
tea's
tea.
great.
I see. It looks like you've got something on your shoulder there, Thoricus.
Oh, the chip on my shoulder because you were a dick to me earlier?
No.
Let me take that off.
What are we if not old friends, eh?
Oh, that's good. No, we're good. We're good, buddy.
Daps.
Yeah, right. All right.
I'm spry for an
Yeah,
old man.
I don't josh very well. I roll shitty on joshing most of the time. So,
Disadvantage on joshing since birth. It was a curse.
yeah.
Sounds like a rap lyric.
Do what you're good at.
All right. So yeah, he's pointing over at your at the blade that you have there, Thoricus. You want to have him take a look at that?
Oh yeah, here. Look at this thing. It's double-sided.
Again, the weight of it, you know, it's
weighty.
not
Really
it doesn't
tough.
have the heft of your double-sided axes, you know, double-sided blades. Your weapon is extremely heavy, but you know, with a 20 strength, you're able to wield it in a way that very few would. You know, you move it with a grace and a finesse. You almost like throw this other sword because it's so light in comparison. You know, it just moves as if the weight of a feather, but you're just like, you know, this isn't, you know, whatever. I don't really fight with double-edged swords. I'm more of an axe guy, you know, and you're handing it to him. And you see, you know, he holds it in his hands for a moment, and then he looks forward and he whispers something. You see him lean forward. And he's just like, Ureba. And he takes his hands off, and the sword is just floating in front of him. And you see as if he's like grabbing the essence of magic around it. He's turning the sword. And you see his eyes glow. And in the reflection of his eyes, it's like he's reading runes on the sword itself, but you don't see any runes on the side of it. These glowing runes in his eyes as he takes in the magical essence of the blade, placing his hands under it, and it just drops into his hand. The great general's blade. The quick strike blade. And he moves it super fast, especially for an old guy. You know, it's like moving around super quickly, and he presents it to you once more.
He's like, let me tell you the statistics of it. It is a +2. It's a +2 dual blade, Thoricus. So it doesn't have the heft of your axe in that it does d12s. It does d8s. It's a double-sided longsword. But it is a +2 magic weapon, which is pretty dope. And then at level 8, the ability that it unlocks is called Battle Alacrity. So as long as you're attuned to this item, when you make a move on your turn in combat, you can double your speed until the end of the turn. Now, once you use it, you have to not move on a round for it to recharge. But now it's like you have this like wind burst that you're just like, you're able to like jump around the battlefield with great finesse, kind of playing into your battlefield tactics. You're remembering now that picture of the general fighting on the battlefield as he seemed to like jump around and was striking all those, the 1,000 enemies that he fought with the blade and the vision at his grave. And so you're like looking at it and you're just like kind of factoring it in like, oh, the cyclone of doom now has like a little extra wind burst to it. So, at the start of a battle, you get to double your movement speed.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like another
Hell
tool for
yeah.
your tool belt. That's awesome. Your tool belt of murder.
That's empty. We need to replenish the axes from the tool belt of murder.
Oh,
They're all gone.
Go outside and get my axe.
I thought we grabbed all those.
We'll grab them on the way out.
I'm on the low. I was gonna grab them, but then we saw some real fucked up treasure chests. So we'll figure that out later.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. We
That
really-
treasure chest is
Right.
lucky we didn't have any axes, am I right?
Axe
Die.
life. All right.
Sweet
yeah,
a
let's grab
fucking.
liquor. So sweet, awesome sword, nice trick.
Yeah, he presents it to you with great reverence, like this one of the more powerful things that he's ever touched in his life.
Never mind. Thank you.
The honor is mine. Hands it back to you.
Cool. I have to blow my nose real quick.
Get it. So you see he turns to Rial. He's like, sorry. He turns to Rial and he's like, and what of you, Shadow Piercer? What wonderful item have you found?
Well, I fear I'm a part of the shadow itself instead it's Piercer, but I know what this sword does. But do you know much about curses?
You see, as he looks at the sheathed, luck blade that you've got, he's kind of looking at it and he's like, he retracts his hands a little bit.
I'd rather he doesn't touch it, so that's good. I think he knows. We melted a guy, the last cursed item. Like, that's not Ubaru's fate. Not today.
You see, he reaches into his bag. He pulls out like a piece of green glass, a piece of purple glass, and a piece of blue glass, and he's just kind of like covering them together, looking at them in different ways, and as he's just kind of looking at it in your own hands, but he seems to be keeping a respectful distance from it. And he's like, there is a soul within this blade.
Oh, he talks.
Yeah, he talks.
And he looks at you with like a wry smile. Then it is true. A sentient blade.
Probably yes.
Yeah, Knack the knife.
He goes back into his bag, pulls out a couple scrolls, and starts trying a few different sprinkles of dust and light. He lights these little incense, and he's just looking at it. But he looks completely perplexed. He basically, there's what he can tell you. He unlocks the potential within it. It is a +2 longsword, so it's +2 to attack and damage. Rial. It does, the stone that rests in its hilt is a wish, the spell Wish, the most powerful spell that Mistra, the goddess of magic, allows men to use. And she limits its use. And so there are some restrictions. If you read the Wish spell, they're like, this is what you can ask for, and if you ask for anything else, bad things can start happening. But it is considered to be, the most powerful magic that exists. He tries to deduce what perhaps the other two wishes were used for, and he is unable to determine it. But he does seem to think that the curse that affects the blade is related somehow. He's like, the energies are the same, as if the stone gave birth to the shadow. I am sorry, Rial. This is beyond even my capabilities.
It's a bummer.
Yeah,
Appreciate you for trying.
Do you know a guy
But
who
we
knows a guy
still.
that we can go to find this out?
So you see when you ask that, Thoricus, this kind of like heavy look covers his face.
Oh,
And you
God.
see he kind of like looks up at Tina. And he's like,
I do know a man who could tell you everything there is to know about this blade.
Is it Tim Burris?
And he goes, but that decision rests on the shoulders of another.
and he nods to you, Tina. And then he kind of throws a little bit of a knowing glance to you, Divot, as well.
No.
My father?
Papa?
Whoa!
You see, he kind of like apologizes for you. He didn't want to say, like even say it. You know, he was letting it be unsaid. But when you do say it, Tina, he bows his head in apology.
He is known to know of all sorts of antiquities. He has gathered many powerful relics in his dark dealings.
He can't be the only one.
Surely not. But he is the one that I know.
Don't call me Shirley.
But he's like,
Well-
you know,
If you wish, I can put resources into finding another powerful mage. Or perhaps someone at the and you know, he's like, Cain Thalas to the south. The cloister
No,
of
no,
trees,
Ubaro,
perhaps.
I need to face my past. Or I don't even need to face my past. I know who I am now. I'm self-assured. We need to get this figured out. Rial, what is he up to nowadays?
You see, he rides to the Malachite Mountains with the great armies. They all come. Something is happening.
and then you see, kind of like looks up and gestures to the mountain. He's like,
The orb has grown in size. Half of the mountain nearly consumed by the magic. We do not know what is happening. The mountain changes. The citizens of Emerella say they have never seen the rivers run this way. Strange flowers grow on the side of the road. Mushrooms. Spring. It is a strange time. But I enjoy my tea with you.
and he picks up his cup of tea and bows his head.
I enjoy the tea as well, but all this talk makes me fear that we may need more resources. Do you have anything with you?
He thinks, you know, he's like, I brought just a thing. I'm sorry, I know that in 5th edition treasure checks don't technically exist, but your boy has been playing D&D for 28 years now. That's new, 28. It's not 27 anymore, it's 28 years. And so I'm going to have you roll me a standard Dungeons & Dragons 1D100. Tina, you came up with the idea.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
giving it to you.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, girl.
And you guys have been extremely polite, so, you know, it pays to have powerful merchant friends. Here we go. Let me, I'm sorry, I'm in my other menu here. What'd you get, Tina?
No, I didn't get it yet. My computer's being very slow.
Roll 20 delay.
There you go. A 90!
Oh,
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, how this feels pretty perfect. I actually don't know what this item is. So I'm gonna look it up and make sure it's not super broken. I'm sorry, that's one of the, as a DM, sometimes you gotta be like, let me just check that out real quick and make sure that doesn't break the entire game.
It's a mega butt touching machine, so you can touch all the butts.
I love
Oh, I gotta roll 1D100 for butts.
Because you can touch 100 butts at once.
What?
Here we go.
Yeah.
Butt toucher!
Butt
Toucher. What toucher?
Buttons activate.
Gotcha.
Butt.
Whoa. All right.
It isn't. It's a butt toucher. It's a butt toucher.
Oh my god, this is what I wanted!
All right. This does require attunement. You see, he reaches into his big rucksack, and he's like,
The gem of my collection. What better purpose than to serve the heroes of the Shekinah prophecy.
He looks at you all with a smile. He reaches into his bag and he pulls out this small golden necklace. And you see where it's this golden chain that comes down and there's a little golden loop. And it loops into an ivory arm. It's like from the elbow down. And that ivory arm is holding on to a golden ring. And hanging on that golden ring is this brilliant red ruby. So you see this like forearm, this ivory forearm hanging down, holding onto this gold loop that's pierced through this red ruby.
He says, this is the periapt of wound closure.
Ubaru, jewelry, are you flirting with me?
He, his cheeks kind of get a little red and he, tips his face down a little. And he holds it out and he explains. So this is the periapt of wound closure. While you wear this pendant, you stabilize whenever you're dying at the start of your next turn.
Whoa!
In addition, one more cool thing.
Welcome to the club.
Whenever you roll a hit dice to regain hit points, so when you do a short rest, you heal twice the amount from that hit dice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I suppose I'm not the only one playing with death now, am I, Divot?
Yo, we be healing.
So yeah, I mean that's a super powerful item there.
That's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a roll of 90 on that magic item is pretty hot. I'm gonna grant you that. That's freaking sweet. You do have to attune to it. So remember, Tina, you can only attune to 3 magic items total.
Okay.
Seeing that reminds me of the crimson-colored scarab thing that we got. Remember we all rolled so low? We were like, like bit it. Like,
It is a scarab, though.
That's a scarab, right?
It's like a scarab. Sure, that's a scarab.
Yes.
A scarab. So it reminds me to go, before I forget, and I reach inside of all my pockets for like a good
Pouches, yeah.
like a good 30 seconds. Do looking for it. I have many pouches and pockets, and then I pull out the crimson scarab in my hand and I hold it out to Chiboy Ubaru.
You see, he kind of looks at it a little perplexed, and he like takes his little, withery. He's an older man, so he's got like kind of withery, papery, dark fingers, and he kind of wafts like the residue of magic from the scarab before even touching it. Strange. You see, he takes it and kind of taps on it, and he's like,
It appears the magical essence has left this item.
and he holds at it. He's like,
Was something held within?
You should talk to my note guy.
I'm looking at them right now. It's like,
you see Bernard's like, hold up. And she starts pulling out like her journal. Like,
One sec, dude. And he's like, oh, of course, sipping his tea.
I got it from a dragon. I killed a dragon. I killed a dragon and the dragon was holding it. I remember I killed a dragon. Hey, Ubaru, guess what? I killed a dragon.
When she starts talking about the dragon, I also just want to like whisper a mental message to Ubaru that's like, dragon whore.
he's like looking at it and he's like,
This appears to have been magical at one time.
and then he kind of like looks at one weird spot on it. And he turns it around and he's like, and he pulls out like a little ruby lens, puts on these strange glasses and looks at it. You see him like adjusting these small little like microscopic lenses, a couple of them at a time, like looking at it.
It would seem this is tied to a ward. This would allow you beyond a barrier of some kind.
Kind of surprised, but he's like, unfortunately, that's all he really knows about it. It seems to be tied to some sort of barrier.
Tight, thanks.
Cool.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
For nothing.
Thank you. Let's just shove it in one of my many pockets.
So yeah, the Crimson Scarab necklace, the only other times you have seen it so far, there was that strange druid on the road before he summoned that elemental that you fought, was wearing one. And if you recall, it seemed the dragon had gotten that necklace from the grave of Illifarn, that the former elder druid in the graveyard of Emerella.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like something tied to those druids, some kind of ward that they have made of some kind.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Baru.
Yeah, you see him, he's like, it is my great pleasure. And then you see him kind of like taking stock of everything that he's seeing, and you see he kind of pulls out like a quill and kind of starts like drawing a little interpretation of each of the items so that he can, log of them in some story or book somewhere. It's like not every day that you get to see not just one, but several extremely powerful magic items at once. And so he seems to be a little overwhelmed. He's losing his social grace a little bit as he's excited at looking down at these trinkets and making sure that he writes down, the exact color of the metals and the various, where he thinks perhaps the style of the design came from, and just little details that a merchant would go nuts about.
I hope he has a little bit more ink.
You see, the quill stops moving and he looks up at you excitedly, like, "Ooh, there was more? Like what? Santa also brought me a gift."
I kept just enough tea in my cup to wait for him to look over to. Yes.
Perfect tea sip, like, and then it makes the perfect little sound when you set it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, what do you got for him?
We got Krampus a sack. It tried to eat our boy Divot. What'd it do though?
Yeah, he ate me, but I got better.
Yes. All right. Please allow me. I'm not going to lie. I forgot to write down the stats for Krampus' sack, but I still have it. So just give me... let's dance.
Krampus sack is Krampus sack. Krampus sack is Krampus.
Sack it up, sack it up, sack it up, sack it up.
Krampus sack. Krampus sack is Krampus sack.
Put the presents in the bag.
What's in the bag?
I was like, don't do anything copywritten, just make up a song.
All right, so it does function as a bag of holding. So let me give you the stats on that.
What?
But it has a bit of a curse in that
Don't we all?
whenever you add or remove items from it,
Wait, there's more.
there is a 25% chance that you are consumed by the bag.
Oh my god.
Can we remove that curse?
And again, you have to do, it is, to get somebody out of the bag, and for some reason this PDF quality is horrible, but it was 22 damage. 22 piercing or slashing damage to cut the bag open and retrieve anybody from inside of the bag.
Oh my god.
But yeah, here, I'll give you the bag of holding stats, because bag of holdings are pretty sweet, and might sometimes be worth the risk.
Do it.
So here we go. This bag has an interior space considerably larger than its outside dimensions, roughly 2 feet in diameter at its mouth and 4 feet deep. The bag can hold up to 500 pounds, not exceeding a volume of 64 cubic feet. The bag weighs 15 pounds, regardless of its contents. Retrieving an item from the bag requires an action, and when you do so, there's a 25% chance that you're swallowed by it.
If it's a real pickle, then you just get out of it. You're like, well, into my bag.
If it's overloaded, pierced, torn, it ruptures and is destroyed, and its contents are scattered across the astral plane. If you turn the bag inside out, its contents spill forth unharmed. But the bag must be put right side before it can be used again, in which case you'll have to make a chance to possibly be sucked into it. Breathing creatures inside the bag can survive a number of minutes equal to 10 divided by the number of creatures at which they begin to suffocate. Placing a bag of holding inside an extra-dimensional space, like a handy sack or a portable hole, destroys both items and opens a gate to the astral plane. The gate originates where one item was placed inside of the other. Any creature within 10 feet is sucked through it to a random location on the astral plane, and the gate then closes, and it's one way only and can never be reopened again. So, maybe don't do that. Unless
Wouldn't recommend.
you find a portable hole and you want to try some crazy stuff. There are some pretty crazy things that have been proposed with a bag of holding. But yeah, this one bears the risk, and you suffer the same potential risk of suffocation inside the bag. So, to quote the good Papa Roach, suffocation, no breathing.
Wow.
Give a fuck.
Ah, yes.
Wow.
The good book.
Praise.
It's Lord Papa of Roach.
Sure.
He has an item in here too. So yeah, pretty sweet. It's not the best to get sucked inside of a dimensional space with pocket dimension inside the astral plane, but it is cool not to have to be like, what are we gonna do with that gold statue? Now you can be like, throw that bitch in the thing. I'll cut
Put
you
it
out,
in the
bro.
Sack it.
You guys have learned, it stitches itself back after you seal it. The bag itself is made of a bunch of patched together fleshes. It's kind of a sight once you start putting your hands on it. It's like the hair, the human hair, and the various races of hair that are on there. They continue to grow, and so it's kind of like a warm, soft, fleshy sack.
Hairy sack, yeah.
catch my
Yes,
drift.
I am familiar. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
if you can go there. So yeah, but yes, you do. You do have Krampus's sack, and you managed to heist it with you from the Feywild on your escape. But you have seen it is a little. It does have
The wily one.
Yeah,
It's a little dicey.
it is a thing from the Feywild, so it has like a little bit of just crazy energy of its own that's outside the realm of normal magic.
You said last time he's a loose cannon. Turn in your sack. You're off the force.
You're out of here. Krampus's sack, you're gone.
You're on the force,
Who's
Sack.
gonna pay for this? They're always so.
Are you a sack? Are you a sack? You gotta tell me if you a sack.
You remember the knob job.
I'm not a sack.
But don't. I saw it with my own eyes. The knob job. I was there.
I'm just picturing the sack like speaking from its sack hole. It's just like, you weren't there.
I'm not gonna
You
lie,
gotta-
I did invent an item called the Bag of Scolding, and it's just a bag of holding that hates you. that's all it is. So it just talks shit all the time while you're using it. That's it. That's the whole hook of the item. That's not this
Brilliant!
stuff. This is
I love
Krampus's
it.
sack.
I love it.
So yeah, holy crap, guys! We actually have now you've been walking around with some pretty potent nukes in your bags, and now in this moment, you kind of all have the moment to kind of reflect, connect, and look at these things. It's just like, man, yeah. As far as magical things go, in a world where maybe you'd heard of potential magical swords and stuff, legends of your people and hidden temples in the jungles that hold strange antiquities. You're starting to have them pile up a little bit. You guys have quite a few.
Are we in a rush to get anywhere, or can I attune to my shield?
What's the duration on Leomans?
8 hours.
8 hours. So,
Well-
you guys, the hut itself is getting ready to kind of break down at this point. Divot, you could use it again if you were so inclined. You guys, let's not get in the habit of doing too many like back-to-back long rests. But if I'm okay with you guys all attuning to these items, as part of this little connection between you and and again, Ubaru kind of emanates a strange magical energy. Like he was able to walk into this hut when traditionally the spell says that nobody should be able to do that without Divot first augmenting the magics or casting the spell around them in the first place. So, Ubaru's got like a little bit of a magical quality that mixes with all of your many magics in this moment. You're all able to attune to these legacy items. And as you do, you realize like these items are somewhat connected to this greater destiny of your characters in the world. And you feel, like the magical connections between them connects you to something ancient that you can't quite yet describe. But you feel as you grow with these items, you will learn and evolve with.
I do want to ask Ubaru, since he's the one that pitched the idea in the first place. He's the one that told us that the Medusa blood was going to cure the aging curse that hit Brunor, Divot, and myself. And I have this freshly shaven Medusa meat.
Yeah.
Does that have any kind of similar effect? Because both of my items are cursed as fuck.
All right, you see him
Leaning
kind of
real
look.
hard against my destiny.
Let me double just check this because it will. That's a cool idea and I like it.
But I've had it a while.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some meat.
Those are the best D&D items where you're like, oh crap, we have like a javelin of lightning. Let's throw that.
Hey, Brandon,
yeah.
are we attuning right now? Like, is that happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Shield.
There it is.
Jewelry.
Hat. Got another hat.
You hear the jingles just backing you up.
Swords.
All right. So
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Rial, is that Medusa Lami that you've got there?
All right.
Medusa meat? Is it?
several weeks
Okay,
ago,
Rial, the way this will work. So basically, using the flesh of this Acelia, he will be able to make for you a potion of greater restoration. Now that's a 5th level spell. Okay. Greater restoration is powerful enough to remove the curse off of Krampus's sack. So if you want to turn Krampus's sack, I know the things you're gonna say. Krampus's sack. If you want to take the curse off of that, where it consumes you, there's a percentage chance of consumption, and just turn it into a bag of holding, like a gross, fleshy, hairy one that's always kind of damp and just off. That's fine. You could do that. However, the curse that is on the luck blade, again, he says it seems like it's tied to that wish, and that wish is a 9th level spell. So a 5th level greater restoration, not powerful. You would actually almost need to use a 9th level spell to crack whatever magic is as part of what that curse is. You know, he has said that, again, he didn't say the name, but Shred Oldbuck, Tenna's father, although granted like a seedy underworld person, is like legendarily known for being able to identify items. And so it's like he's seen some of the real hot merchandise in his day, and it's his business to know these things. And so, you know, it's almost the entire reason that the Merchants Guild operates with them. It's like the Merchants Guild would rather not be connected to the seedy underworld, but there's things that are beyond their power, and they have used the guild run by Shred Oldbuck in the past in such cases. Again, that doesn't mean you have to go do that, but that is one of the many options that presents you. And he did offer his resources, you know, if you'd rather he send word to like Cain Thalas or the Cloister of Trees to the south, to the elves there, and see if, you know, if there's any assistance he can get there. He offers his resources to that end as well. So, you know, you're free to ask him to do whatever you would like. But he gives it to you, and I mean, again, the power of a greater restoration, you know, he kind of like makes the potion in front of you. You see he drops this strange powder that melts the skin down into a liquid, and then he stirs it with this strange wand, and then the wand is kind of consumed by the potion itself, and he just shakes it around, and it kind of shines with this white, pure ivory light, and he hands it to you. And so he's like, he's like, these vials were handed out by the priestesses to solve the blight. Powerful magic. And in no uncertain D&D terms, he says, so he can, this Greater Restoration is a spell, it's 5th level cleric spell. One effect on that is charmed or petrified, it can be removed. It can remove one curse and attunement to a cursed thing that they can't unattune from. It can get rid of any reduction to one of the target's ability scores, or get rid of one effect reducing the target's hit point maximum. So kind of like what Thoricus dealt with when the Night Hag, you know, ate his brain during his nightmare. So it is a really powerful item. That is a pretty good use of it if you want to get rid of kind of the 25% chance to get sucked into your bag of holding and turn it into a pretty awesome magic item. That's a good use. But again, that would be the only use of it. Oh, he hands it to you.
Shield.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
It is my great pleasure.
And you see he kind of looks at you and he's like,
I sense a heaviness in your eyes, Rial. What has changed within you?
I know who I am at this point. I know what I am.
Then you have me at the advantage. For I still do not know who I am or what I am.
Oh, yeah. You forgot to turn this off again, by the way.
And may neither of those things decide what we will be. That's my plan.
he looks at you with a smile.
I do not know what you are, Rial, but I do know who you are. And you are a good man.
You know, leaves the Greater Restoration vial, kind of wraps it in a little purple silk bag that you can, you know, cinch at the waist or something to hold on to.
Awesome. And I guess I'll just join in attuning with everyone. So can I attune to Krampus's sack while still
actually,
hanging-
Krampus's sack does not require attunement.
Oh, it
So
doesn't?
it's just
Okay.
it's like a dope magic item you just now have.
I just sling that sack over my shoulder and, you know, look at my friends all attuning and, man.
So you, just to
I
be
got the
clear,
best
you
one.
still are not gonna like attune to this luck blade, right? You're still holding out on that.
And I am so clashed because I really want to. Real really wants to, but there's a lot of nastiness floating around this sword. I don't want to attune to it just yet. I don't want to go through Shren if Ubaru's willing to, if he's able to get back to the Cloister of the Trees, because those are my folks. That's the last place I ended up before all my bullshit.
That's true.
So-
And like the Cloister of Trees wasn't a bad place, but Urgon
Yeah.
was doing bad things there. You know, like they thought he was just this really wise wizard. They didn't know he had you like locked in a dungeon underneath, you know, his set, underneath his room, or his laboratory. So it's like, the Cloister of Trees themselves, so it's basically a giant library of elven lore and literature. So it's supposed to be some of the more ancient texts, perhaps could shed some light on both the sword, perhaps the Shekinah prophecy, or anything like that. So yeah, he's willing to. I mean, like, he can't travel with you guys because he's like an old man. But it's like, if that's where you want him to go after this, he would gladly do that.
Unless
Yo.
anybody else has any. Yeah, what's up?
I was just gonna say, like, I'm attuning to the hat, but my Vest of Eyes definitely notices that Rial is the only person not attuning to something right now.
Yeah, you see, they're all kind of looking at you, David, like all these eyes on your vest are just looking at him. But yeah, no, and at the same time, that's, you all know that it's a very powerful thing that he has, and that it's no secret that him choosing not to do it is likely, for your benefit rather than anything else. It's just like, this was all a little too convenient that led to you now having this extremely powerful thing in your hands.
Shield.
Yo, I want to mind message you. I'm like, I'm the sword, attune to me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Divot. That was, I see you.
So yeah, Brunor, you feel that crushing wave. Again, it's like this shield is made of the crest of like this ancient boat. And so you feel, as you're attuning to it and you sing your shield attunement song. How's that go again? That's the one. Yeah. You're going to have to email me those lyrics. As you're attuning to it, again, you almost start feeling that essence of being on the water and like bouncing on the great waves of these giant, the primordial oceans. You feel like this wood is ancient, perhaps one of the first boats to sail the oceans that exist now. You can just feel that history all locked into it as you attune to it. Thoricus, you as well, you've heard the legend of the general fighting off 1,000 men by himself, and you even bore witness to a little of it in your vision. But in this, as you like attune to this blade, you're like getting the sensations of dashing around the battlefield and just bringing down many foes at one point, tactically positioning yourself into another position, and just the the versatility it now offers you on the battlefield. It's like many times you've been kind of pinched by it's like, I can't get to that guy. It's like that one of your biggest shortcomings is now an advantage.
These little things.
Yeah, dwarfs get a little bone with that 25 speed. But your strength is good enough that the armor doesn't affect you. But yeah, Tina, the same with you as you connect to this ring of benevolence. You just feel, that it's not necessarily like you and a god are talking, but it's very clear when she puts her focus toward you. And so it's like, as you grow in power and this connection to being, as a life cleric, it's just, it's feeling sunshine, and instead of just on your skin, it's in your body as well, and so it's just a delight, absolutely delightful experience as you kind of just bask in this warm, benevolent glow of the ring and connect to it. And Divot, again, it's like you feel, as an actor, this moment, but it's like there's 1,000 people sitting in an audience and the lights are about to go up and there's that static in the air and you're just waiting for the show to start, and like everybody's quiet because they know it's about to happen, and you're standing there in that moment, and that moment just continues on and the show doesn't start, but you feel it inside of you, ready to call at your beck. And so it's just you just feel that kind of, again, a throwback to more of your old power source, that delightful performance energy within you once more. And yeah, so you guys, all attuned to your super sweet magic items. Again, your armor class is going up, ACs, saving throws and stuff. Again, just a little bit of a prelude that things are probably going to be getting a little harder as you guys move forward. So you see Ubaru's kind of sitting there looking around. You see he seems a little spent, like he spent a lot of his magical energy, however that represents itself, learning what he's learned. And he looks tired now, kind of leaning on a pillow. I am sorry. I am not the young man I once was.
I get that.
Well, you're safe here. Rest a spell.
You see, he doesn't argue with you at all, Tina, and he just kind of leans back and rests his shoulders on this pillow and closes his eyes and just drifts off to sleep, leaving you guys all just, you've still got some tea, you've still got some, little crackers and stuff that he left out, but now you guys know these legacy items, that calls into question kind of a bigger thing. Again, it's like somehow you guys are tied to this thing, this cycle that you bore a little bit of a witness to in some strange plane, and so it's like this knowledge that whatever you guys, at least the four of you that are attuned to these items, were meant to be, like that you were meant to have these things.
Shield, baby.
I would like to put a hand on the hilt of the blade just to see if he's got anything to say. He might be a little pissed after not attuning and how everything went down. I've only spoken to him very briefly or listened to him, but I'm curious.
Yes, you see, he's like, "Oh, you should absolutely attune to me, Uriel. I am the most powerful blade ever forged. Please, just lend me a little space within your spirit, and I shall fight great enemies on the battlefield to no avail."
Alright, I'll let go of the hilt. It's more the same, so I'll just wait.
Are you sure?
It's okay.
Wait. Oh, damn it. All right. I was too strong. I came on. I'll write it down. I won't be. Just feel a little
strong,
tug
man.
at your
Real
belt
strong.
loop. Hey, maybe. Do you maybe want to attune to me? So Rial, again, there's something up with this thing. It's like you're no fool. It's like it's not even just ominous DMing. It's just like at this point, it wasn't rested in the graves like everybody else's. It sat in a strange place on this beast. It's just like you're a very intelligent man. An arcane trickster, an intelligent wizard. And so it's just like you're too smart to just be like, man, is it tempting? That is a very powerful weapon, and the power of a wish. You could reshape reality, no pun intended. But you could, it's like with the power of the greatest power allowed in the prime material plane, the spell wish. You have that just at your waist, whether or not you can resist it forever. It's not the One Ring or anything. You're not going to be like, there's stupid purposes. But it's like, there is an absolute draw of the fact that of all these powerful things that everybody just got, they all pale in comparison to the power of a wish. And so it's just like, man, it's like having a machine gun in a medieval era. You have a pretty powerful thing at your side. And yeah, that relationship, much like Magnus, in the back of Divot's
Wish
mind.
for a machine gun.
Yeah.
Bro, don't waste it on a machine gun.
Oh my god.
No one makes ammo around here. Think about it.
Only if it's a machine gun for Brian. Two machine guns.
It's just mounted 50 cal on it. Yeah, this shit would get wild.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Shit, it's a wish. Why don't I get us all machine guns? Fuck.
Yeah!
Because no
just
one
wish
makes
for
ammunition.
one.
Oh.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
But no, that blade is very tempting. Ever since I learned about it from that scroll, it is a temptation every single time. But we have ways of figuring it out otherwise, so just wait and see.
Fight the temptation.
Shut him up and resheath him for a while.
All right, as the green room kind of fades away, the 8 hours up, Ubaru kind of slowly is laid gently on the grass. Doesn't seem to wake him up at all. He's content to have a little bit of a sleep while you guys kind of figure out the next, state of things and just kind of gauge your surroundings. Thor just kind of peek over and like, Look over to the south where that treasure chest was, just to make double check and make sure. And it is gone. So it was the same chest that you had seen to the south the first time that ran away from you guys, brave little toaster style, into the forest.
At least it wasn't Ubaru.
That's just,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I'm glad Ubaro's here, but it's disappointing that was the treasure chest. So it's fine.
All right, so
I know
you
where
guys...
we can find more treasure.
Where?
I like
More treasure?
you got Moxie, kid. You got Moxie. So
Tina Smooth Hands. We were talking about a dragon's hoard, were we not? It feels like many a moon ago. Moon.
Remember that? Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
I-
treasure.
I have a hunch, though. The wormlings, the dragons we encountered, said that they were pushed away from the Malachite Mountains by the druids. I think everything that we're seeking is in the same place, or at least on the way.
Well, that should make our adventure all the smoother.
I was gonna say that'd be way too easy, guys. I mean, I don't want to break the ball, but Brandon would never do that to us. It's just way too easy.
Here's
I've known the guy for,
hoping
like,
it
16
all
years.
goes to plan.
No, yeah, it's all gonna be great. They're all right there.
No,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
clearly not going to be okay.
It's like, I mean, do you guys want to just play one game where like everything's okay? Where it's like, hey man, like, what's up? It's tight.
It's not going to be that easy.
It's my job to make things not okay. Speaking of which, you guys are kind of gathering around, again taking stock of the prime material plane that you now rest in, outside of the magic of the dome. The ever-present sun washing down on you again, and now that you're outside of the magical temperature control, you feel that wind once more. And Tina, as you're kind of basking in the sunlight again, just feeling that warm radiance both on the outside and the inside from this new attunement to this natural benevolence through this magic item you now wear, you kind of hear the wind going through the trees. You hear like where there's pine needles tickling each other and where there's thick leaves just blowing in the wind, and you just hear this very soft, just kind of gorgeous breeze in the morning. And then carried on that breeze, you hear a voice. Hello, Tina. It's good to see you again. And it's Mithra, your former ally, teen, girly friend, that you last saw inside Buraka. It is her voice. You quickly look the direction where the wind came from, and it seems to have been carried down through this like archway that leads to the hole in the ground, as if she's calling you away. You look around, and you're the only one that heard it.
Oh.
And that's where we're going to pick it up next time, guys. Ooh.
Oh man.
My heart!
Ooh. Yeah, she messed you up last time you saw her.
Yeah,
You guys did not leave on good terms.
Like,
How dare she show her face to you? How?
Yes.
not my house.
Ooh. Some man, yeah. This is some man, let me tell you, I know a little bit of stuff. There's some really cool shit coming, guys, and it is gonna be dope. I cannot wait to get back. We do this every single Tuesday here at twitch.tv/ArtHeartStudios. We post it to YouTube the following Friday at 4:20, and then we've been throwing up some reruns of some of the Fey War and stuff on the channel, trying that out. It's been fun. So if you're watching us in any of those capacities, thank you so much. It is our absolute great joy to do this. I love working with these guys. I love working with all the amazing artists. Seriously, Sean, Stephanie, Ed, Vlad, Sandy. There's like so many people that put so much work into just our silly, fun game of D&D, and it's just a great treat to be a part of. Thanks to the buds for watching, hanging out, making all of our communities fantastic. Thanks to my wonderful cast for just being my favorite people that I've ever played D&D with. And my very thanks to GANJA for helping me get imaginative along the path. We are going to wrap things up the way we open them up. We got a little ritual we like to do around here. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but we like to take a lighter like this one here. Make sure we're not going to light any of our friends, family, or Ubaru on fire, and go. Lighter's up. Whew. Let's play D&D with us, guys.
I miss Ubaru. Ubaru's fun.
He's a good
A
guy.
lot of fun.
Ubaru's so good.
Those good people.
I like that guy.
He's a good dude.
He's a good
He's a little
guy.
flirt.
He's clear.
Oh, yeah.
So what? You can't touch me, because I'm from the internet.